My parents were the most notorious child predator catchers in the US. I can't be sure why I've only now decided to share my story with anyone. Even my beloved wife only knows snippets and sections about my childhood. I made the greatest effort I could to conceal the nastiest, most concealed memories from her, and I stand by that decision. She could never cope with the knowledge of what I went through in most days. Neither can I. Better to keep things hidden from wives and therapists, friends and concerned relatives. Not that I had many to begin with, and even less now. Co-workers and bosses. Ask no questions and I'll tell no lies. That was the same attitude my parents held. No point airing our dirty laundry. What happens at home stays at home. Not that we ever stayed in one home for long, and if someone asks you how your weekend was, you smile sweetly and say very good, thank you. Doesn't matter if you went to Disneyland or watched a pet die in your arms, always give the same response. It saves you having to learn new ones. I guess was the only son to Chris and Philippa Sanchez. I don't see any harm in sharing their name. Their show Hunters Hunted was a hit for trashy daytime television, the catchy title summing up hours of half-staged encounters with child predators, them acting as presenters, and I, their child prodigy, their star, tying the show together in a neat little bow. The bait. Every show followed a similar pattern. I would have a few lines, a couple of stage directions thrown my way, and then I would be shoved out to wander around in some public place, young and alone and afraid. I never had to fake that last part. After a while a predator would come up, start asking my name and what I was doing there, where my parents are, and would I like to come home with him so he could take care of me. My responses always followed the same pattern. My name is, I'm looking for my mom. I don't know where she is. Yes, please. From there I would follow him, out of the eye of the public and into whatever lair he had constructed for himself. My parents would be waiting on standby, a crew surrounding them, a tracker sewn into my shirt, and no chance of the situation ever getting out of hand or going south. The viewers got their just as fixed as my parents would storm in, surrounded by a production crew, and start harassing the predator while calling the police. Sum up the episode. Hug the kid, wave goodbye and watch the checks flow in. Of course there were plenty of debunkers, skeptical viewers that rightly claimed that at least 60% of the show was garbage and faked. I don't know if anyone ever considered calling CPS on my parents. I have to believe deep down that someone tried somewhere, because the truth of the situation was my parents rarely made it on time. There would be minutes, sometimes hours of dead space in between the shot of me going inside the front door and the shot of my parents bursting in. I have to believe someone noticed that. What happened in that dead space is not for me to know. My brain functioned like a camera, and even if I tried to access those memories, I couldn't. Deleted footage. No recovery system. That's why I chose the life I did. The minute I turned 11 my parents decided to pack in the show. We settled down into an upper-class neighborhood and they never had to work again. They spoiled me to death with possessions, and the two of them basked in the light of their success while I cowered in the darkness, unable to tell them what had happened to me. I couldn't bear the thought of talking about it, so I never did. Later on I took an interest in child protection, exploring options in social care and eventually landing a role in CPS, helping children out of difficult situations, the most fulfilling job in the world. That should have been it. My parents, though money hungry and cold, were never nasty to me. Our relationship remained formal and they send cards twice a year, birthdays and Christmas, and I return the favor. That could have been it. If it weren't for my most recent assignment, I was deemed the one with the most experience to deal with the aftermath. A horrific story of a young foster girl being pulled out from a household after the neighbors reported suspicious noises late at night. Horrible, but not rare. The case had pretty much been sorted. Police had already been through the evidence, the father arrested, the girl put with another family, traumatized but saved. My job was relatively easy. Go through the computers, check for any suspicious emails, signs of accomplices the police can't spot. His emails came up clear. I suspected they would. There was no case to be made of a larger organization, and I was thankful for that. I should have walked away there, but there was one inbox I hadn't cleared yet. I had to do my job. The inbox contained only one email from the several months ago, a confirmation of purchase for a video. My stomach tightened at those words. Bile crawled into my throat. Surely he hadn't done any of it through email. Even if this was what I thought it was, I shouldn't click on it. It wasn't my place. Leave this sort of stuff to the police. But even with my head raging with noise, my mouse crawled closer to the file. One video, 8 minutes long, no title or thumbnail. Leave it. Don't click on it. This is tampering with evidence. There's something wrong here. Whatever is on there, you don't want to see it. You know you shouldn't, so click. A black screen, a rustling noise, a vague hush. The black screen gives way to a view through a window, an older man standing at the end of a bed. A young boy, no older than 11, wearing a blue t-shirt and black cargo shorts, sitting on the bed. The man smiles, looks at the boy, looks back at the camera, and in almost imperceptible voice tells the cameraman to zoom in. My mother's voice,